The man who once ruled the Billboard charts could soon trade platinum plaques for prison stripes. But is Sean Diddy Combs a visionary caught in a scandal, or the architect of an empire built on exploitation? For 5 intense weeks, a federal courtroom in Lower Manhattan has watched the Bad Boy Records founder battle racketeering and sex trafficking charges that carry up to life in prison. Prosecutors paint a chilling picture: a mogul who leveraged fame, fortune, and fear to orchestrate drug-fueled freak-offs and silence anyone who pushed back. Tensions inside the courtroom run so hot that Judge Arun Subramanian literally threatened to kick Diddy out for nodding vigorously at jurors, warning that even a stare could count as intimidation. Meanwhile, the jury has already heard tear-stained testimony from 3 alleged victims, including an ex-girlfriend testifying under the pseudonym Jane, whose relationship with the rapper began with lavish gifts and ended, she says, in coercion, drugs, and trauma. Everything you're about to hear remains allegation, not verdict, but the claims are explicit and unsettling. If graphic accounts of sex, violence, or drug use are uncomfortable, now's your cue to click away. For everyone else, buckle up. Because behind the red carpet swagger and diamond-studded grin lies a story of power, obsession, and blurred consent. A story that could redefine how we judge celebrity culture itself. And by the final gavel, you may find yourself wondering, was this a meteoric fall from grace, or a slow burn revelation we chose to ignore? By day, Sean Diddy Combs is the mogul who flipped street mixtapes into a billion-dollar lifestyle. Bad boy hiss, rock deals, clothing lines, the whole glossy resume. But prosecutors say that empire doubled as camouflage for something far darker. A 5-count federal indictment for racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transporting women for prostitution. Charges that can carry decades, even life, behind bars. Inside Judge Arun Subramanian's Manhattan courtroom, the tension is thick enough to cut. When Combs allegedly started nodding vigorously at jurors, the judge threatened to bar him from attending his own trial, warning that even a stare could be construed as intimidation. The message landed. No superstar theatrics here. Only the cold math of evidence, witnesses, and awaiting verdict. Yet, headlines about criminal enterprises don't resonate like a single human voice. And one voice, soft, sometimes trembling, has seized the room. The jury leans forward. Viewers live streaming courthouse feeds hit unmute. They want to hear from Jane. Because if the prosecution is right, her love story is the blueprint for Diddy's alleged scheme. She remembers their first spark, a Miami yacht party in late 2020. Champagne salt in the air, Combs' confidence lighting the deck like flood lamps. What followed felt cinematic. Private jets, VIP booths, a man she describes as bright light, larger than life, dissolving her shyness with attention most fans only dream about. But the dream came with fine print. Early on, Combs declared he was polyamorous. Jealousy wasn't just expected, it was baked into the terms. When his affections pivoted to other women, Jane admits she lashed out. Yet, she stayed, buoyed by affection and by money. Roughly $150,000 in wire transfers during their 3-year romance, plus a standing $10,000 monthly allowance for a Los Angeles home that Combs still pays today. In voicemails played to the jury, the mogul croons a pet name that shocks the gallery: crack pipe. His shorthand, he says, for how addictive their time together felt. Jane replied with equal devotion, confessing she had so much fun on their Turks and Caicos getaway. But text threads reveal a second narrative. Lingerie runs labeled Black Matrix, angst over posting nothing Instagram-worthy, and nights she now calls a chaotic whirlwind of dark. Love, gifts, and code names might sound eccentric until you learn what happened behind closed doors. That's where hotel nights, NBA-themed aliases, and paid escorts turned their romance into a spectacle Jane says she never truly controlled. And the moment those doors swing open, the story shifts from lavish to harrowing. But that, as you'll see next, is where the lights go out and the allegations burn brightest. Hotel nights. Love stories turned live-action fantasies. They called it the trifecta. 3 bodies, 3 aliases, 1 voyeur's dream. Diddy took the title Michael Jordan. Jane became Kobe Bryant, and a blue-eyed escort named Paul answered to Shaq. The game unfolded not on hardwood, but in penthouse suites where silk sheets replaced sneakers and every buzzer beater was sexual. Jane says the invitations felt more like ultimatums: show up or miss him entirely. To keep her place beside the man she loved, she hunted Instagram for performers Diddy handpicked. Cabral, Anton, Don, men she barely knew but had to trust with everything. She bought Black Matrix lingerie, teetered on 6-inch heels, and practiced fantasy talk that told Diddy exactly what he wanted to hear. I'm yours, even when you hand me to someone else. Escorts arrived under basketball code names, champagne popped, and Diddy grabbed his phone for lighting, for music, for proof. One clip of Cabral with Jane was so explicit, it later became blackmail bait, a threat that kept her silent, even after the haze cleared. In the moment, though, she clung to the aftermath. Those quiet hours when the guests were gone, the drugs wore off, and Diddy's head rested on her chest. That was the love she chased. But passion wasn't the only current running through those rooms. Something stronger fueled the all-night marathons, and the bill was coming due. Drugs, F It Friday, and the party that never slept. Jane noticed it first on a private jet. Graying gums, shaky hands, eyes clouded from too many late-night cocktails. She begged Diddy to detox in Thailand. He floated ketamine therapy to kick a Xanax habit, then ordered another round. Every week, the calendar hit F It Friday, the signal to crank the music, crush pills into powder, and forget whatever pressure loomed outside the suite. Ecstasy kept Jane performing, she says. Xanax mellowed Diddy's mood. Vodka chased them both. When supplies ran low, she twice tucked packets of drugs into her luggage, following packing instructions texted by Diddy's chief of staff. The stakes were sky high, but refusing felt riskier than carrying contraband through customs. Yet, no chemical cocktail could numb the control games. One moment, he wired her 10 grand just because. The next, he dangled rent money like a leash. Those golden handcuffs and the arguments they sparked are where the story heads next. Lavish gifts or golden handcuffs. When jurors heard that Diddy wired Jane roughly $150,000 over 3 years, plus covered the rent on a Los Angeles home chosen to match his taste level, it sounded, at first, like hip-hop romance at scale. But on cross-examination, Jane called those transfers a little reminder, insisting he could yank the money away the moment she displeased him. The defense tried to pivot. Didn't you get a Van Cleef necklace? A Bottega bag? Jane shot back, how much does my body cost? Igniting murmurs in the gallery and underscoring prosecutors' theme of affection weaponized as leverage. That tension spilled into texts the jury read aloud. Jane begged for something postable on social media while complaining she received trauma instead of Chanel. Each message felt like another brick in the government's picture of a lover kept compliant by cash, glamour, and the fear of losing both. Trial fireworks in room 26B. If the money drama simmered, the courtroom itself kept boiling. On day 18, Judge Arun Subramanian warned he would eject Combs for nodding vigorously at jurors, calling the gesture potential intimidation. The rebuke landed just hours after he rejected a mistrial motion the defense lodged over earlier testimony about an alleged Kid Cudi car bombing, signaling that this bench has little patience for procedural stall tactics. Meanwhile, prosecutors, now deep into Week 5, assured the panel they'll rest before Independence Day, teeing up a defense case that could feature star witnesses, or none at all. And every day the spectacle grows. Sketch artists scrambling to capture Jane in tears, reporters parsing whether a single glance from the defendant might shift a verdict, and hip-hop royalty hovering outside like paparazzi bait. Yet beneath the theatrics, one truth remains. If the jury believes those wire transfers and luxury trinkets were strings rather than gifts, Sean Diddy Combs could see his empire traded for a prison jumpsuit. And with closing arguments now looming, the next objection, or the next tier, might tip the scales. Rumors, speculation, and unanswered questions. What else might still be hiding in the shadows? That's the question churning through comment sections and courthouse corridors alike as the prosecution's case nears its final witness. The plea deal whisper mill. In late April, prosecutors quietly offered Combs what insiders call a mid-range deal, reportedly a 12 to 18-year sentence if he pled to a single trafficking count. Diddy's team rejected it outright, doubling down on an all-or-nothing strategy and insisting every encounter was consensual. Crime profile witnesses still circling. Jurors have already heard R&B star Cassie Ventura and ex-assistant Brianna Bongolin. Next, prosecutors signaled they may call Kid Cudi, whose car was allegedly firebombed after he dated Cassie, to bolster an intimidation narrative. Cudi was slated for late May testimony and ultimately spent 90 minutes on the stand describing that 2012 incident. Frive the money, or the missing money. Tabloids now track every asset dump. A $60 million Gulfstream jet offloaded here, a Los Angeles mansion there, all to bankroll what one headline calls Diddy's economic Armageddon. Fans speculate those fire sales foreshadow a mega payout to victims, or a war chest for appeals. None of that is verified, but the rapid liquidation is real. Crime threads that could still unravel. Court filings hinted unreleased hotel suite footage seized during the March 2024 DHS raid, though neither side has confirmed it exists. Online forums buzz about encrypted drives and a rumored second superseding indictment. Important, these claims remain uncorroborated. Treat them as rumor until evidence surfaces. Free calendar math versus courtroom drama. With 16 witnesses logged in just 2 weeks and more lined up, analysts debate whether jurors will get the case before July 4 or watch it bleed deep into summer. Sean Diddy Combs once turned every setback into a remix. This time, the remix may be a reckoning. If prosecutors prove that luxury, loyalty, and fear were currencies in a decades-long trafficking ring, the verdict could echo far beyond one man's legacy, reshaping how we judge power inside pop culture. If the defense convinces jurors it was all consensual kink, hip-hop's ultimate showman may moonwalk right back into the spotlight. And so I'm going to leave you with a question. When celebrity, money, and desire collide, where do we draw the line between fantasy and exploitation? Drop your thoughts below. Do you believe the allegations, or do you see a consensual lifestyle put on trial? And hit subscribe, because our next deep dive looks at the ripple effects rocking the entire music industry, from record deals on pause to brands rewriting morality clauses. Until then, stay curious and stay tuned.